On April 6th, I, a 37-year-old man, discovered that my wife, a 36-year-old woman of 9 years, whom I've been with for 19 years, has been unfaithful. We have 2 young kids, thriving careers, fantastic friends and family, a beautiful home, and overall, an incredible life with hardly anything to gripe about. Here's how I found out. On April 1st, 2020, I stumbled upon some suspicious texts from a coworker while searching my wife's phone for our daughter's piano teacher's number. Only a few messages were there. It was obvious that earlier parts of the conversation had been erased, but the ones I saw included from him, "We should get together and be close," and from her replying to his, "I crave KFC. What, kissing, ducking, and finishing all over me?" These messages threw me for a loop, but I hoped and thought at the time that there was a slim chance it was just playful banter or, at worst, inappropriate texting. Sadly, this turned out to be wishful thinking. Over the following days, I had a hard time getting access to her phone since I was preoccupied with working full-time and taking care of our kids during lockdown. She also has a full-time job and couldn't help much with childcare that week, so I was, ironically, doing my best to support her during a difficult time. I looked up the guy and found his profiles on LinkedIn, which is how I realized he was her coworker, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. At that point, I didn't know the full extent of the cheating or the nature of their relationship. On the night of April 5th, after a restless night worrying about the situation, I woke up early, 3 a.m., and grabbed her phone. I combed through all her texts, WhatsApp, Facebook messages, emails, and photos to find more evidence. Most of the text messages had been deleted, but I discovered screenshots and saved photos from months earlier that hinted at the nature of their conversation, inappropriate texting, and one specific time and date when they had met. There was a screenshot of a Google map from a certain location to our house. On its own, this wouldn't have meant anything, but the next photo, timestamped 30 minutes later at 8:30 p.m., showed the inside of a car parked at a recognizable public spot about a 5-minute walk from our home. I checked the time and date of the photo against my diary. It was from July 2019, and knew I was at home. This meant she must have gone out to meet someone. I didn't know for sure at the time if it was the affair partner, but I knew she never told me she was meeting anyone, so I assumed it wasn't innocent. This image served as proof that their relationship wasn't just limited to inappropriate texting, although there was no evidence of any physical closeness, and established a timeline of up to 10 months, meaning I had to look back that far. I also found a photo of a man in a bathtub, modesty preserved, but there was no way to identify who it was. This suggested that pictures were being exchanged, but there was no evidence that she had sent any. At this point, I had trouble piecing together more information until I looked through the affair partner's social media from the past 12 months and realized that he had been on work trips at the same time and place as my wife, twice, in a major U.S. city, in June 2019 and February 2020. This obviously raised red flags, but I still lacked concrete evidence. That was all I had. While everything pointed to a full-blown affair, I didn't have solid proof and couldn't figure out where else to look. However, I couldn't hide my anger and distress from her any longer, so on April 6th, I confronted her. The unveiling. I started asking her about the other guy she was texting with and deleted previous conversations without going into detail. I did this to ease into the conversation and prevent her from getting defensive right away. After discussing that topic, I straight up asked her, "Who's this John?" Her reaction was immediate and gave me a vibe that she wasn't too thrilled about it. At first, she tried to play it cool and said it was just harmless texts, but eventually admitted that it wasn't appropriate and was just playful banter. I decided to ask her about what went down in U.S. City in June, but she quickly shut me down and denied anything had gone on. I didn't have any solid proof, but I tried to hint that I knew something was up. It took a while, but she eventually started to spill the beans, starting with little tidbits of info like, "We were just hanging out at the bar," and "We were by ourselves." She kept insisting that nothing had happened, but I wasn't quite convinced. We were at a standstill, so I suggested that he come over to our place, it's nearby, to talk. But she quickly shot down the idea and said he couldn't come over. I called her out and said that I knew something was up, and it would be best if she just came clean. However, we kept going in circles for a bit until I mentioned the photos I had seen of the map and car. This seemed to get her to open up a bit more, and she said they only talked about what went down in U.S. City, even though she still maintained that nothing had happened. But to me, it just didn't add up. I circled back and started questioning her again about what went down in the U.S. City, even though I already knew. I wanted to hear it straight from her, and eventually she started giving me more details. Her: okay, we kissed at the elevator. Me: that doesn't add up. What happened after that? Her: nothing. Me: you went to one of your rooms, right? Yeah, we went to my room. I already know that. What happened then? Her: nothing. We just talked. Me: that's not making sense. You already kissed, so there must have been more. You need to tell me the truth. Her: fine, we kissed again. Me: and then? Her: nothing happened, I swear. Me: I'm having a hard time believing that. You had a chance to do something, and I know it. So what really happened? Her: nothing, I swear. I know you had love. Her: no, we didn't. Me: okay, then what did you do? Her: we just touched each other, but kept our clothes on. Me: that doesn't make sense. Her: I swear, that's all that happened. Me: you're not being honest with me. I already know more than what you're telling me. Her: okay, fine. We had closeness in the hotel during our second visit to the U.S. in February. Me: I knew it. How many times did you have love with him? Her: 4 times. Me: where did you do that? Her: twice in his car, once in his house during lunch break, and once when we were away on work in the U.S. City. Current situation: I don't trust my wife every time she picks up her phone. I assume she's talking to another man. Since D-Day, she's shown me all incoming messages from any guy I don't know. I know this because I still snoop whenever I have the opportunity. I'm not proud of constantly checking her phone, and I don't even know what I'm searching for, but my confidence is shattered. When she leaves the house, I worry she's going to meet someone, even though I know that's not the case. For example, she's visiting her parents. However, things are gradually improving. As time passes, the emotions become more manageable, and she can show me how much I mean to her and how valuable our relationship is. We've both read numerous articles about infidelity and listened to many podcasts to find explanations, understanding, and a way forward. We agree that we're not trying to repair our previous relationship that's permanently damaged or even destroyed, which is truly heartbreaking. But we're attempting to create something new and stronger. I trust her feelings for me and believe she wants to make things better. I haven't told anyone about what happened. Part of me wants to confide in close friends, but I don't want them to judge my wife, since we're all friends. We've discussed counseling and plan to arrange it in the coming weeks or months. As for why it happened and how it could have been prevented, my wife struggles with anxiety. She's on medication, low self-esteem, and low self-confidence. While there's no excuse for her actions, this is one of the reasons it occurred. She found acceptance and desire from someone outside our relationship. In her eyes, it was someone who wouldn't judge her. And even if he did, she didn't care about his opinion. The guy is physically nothing like me. I work hard to stay fit and am tall, slim, and athletic, while he is short and overweight. If there's one lesson I've learned from this situation, it's that appearances don't necessarily matter when it comes to infidelity, nor does logic. Our relationship had its share of problems, nothing we thought was too severe, but mainly centered around not spending enough quality time together. We've always been swamped with work, raising our kids, and I have a great group of friends that I hang out with, play golf, and chat with on a WhatsApp group. In hindsight, maybe too much. I wish I had been more aware of the risks of infidelity and the fact that it's quite common. I never imagined it would happen to us, and I certainly never thought my wife would have love with someone else. I wish I had known the following: preventing infidelity. The responsibility not to cheat lies with each person. There's no excuse for cheating. If there's an issue in a relationship, it should be brought up, discussed, and solutions for improvement should be identified. Question and request for advice. I'm doing my best to cope with this situation and believe we'll make it through. I don't think I'll ever be completely okay, but I'm glad I didn't make any rash decisions, like telling friends, walking out, or seeking revenge through cheating. Although I do consider all 3 options to varying degrees depending on my mood. One aspect I haven't addressed is the affair partner and his spouse. I'm contemplating whether I should inform her. If the roles were reversed, I would have wanted her to reach out and tell me. They have 2 young children, and I don't want to do anything that might impact them, but I'm bothered by the fact that he's getting away with this without any consequences, and his unsuspecting partner remains in the dark, as far as I know. So my question is, should I tell the AP's spouse? And if so, how should I go about it? I know where they live, so I could just drive over one day. A breaking point. I was able to get in touch with the AP's spouse through Facebook today. I couldn't find her before since my account was deactivated, and she didn't appear in Google searches. I sent her a message on Facebook Messenger, and we've been texting on WhatsApp this afternoon. She's aware of almost all the details I know, but she said she had something urgent to tell me. My heart sank as I wondered what could possibly be so important. We had planned to meet at the cafe at 3 p.m. I arrived a few minutes early and found a quiet corner to sit in. She arrived shortly after, and we exchanged pleasantries before ordering our drinks. As we sat down, she took a deep breath and told me that she had something urgent to share. I could tell by the serious look on her face that whatever she had to say was important. Little did I know that what she was about to reveal would completely change my life. I couldn't believe what I was hearing when she told me that she found a conversation in her husband's phone confirming that my wife was pregnant by him. My heart was pounding, and I felt like I was in a daze. I had suspected that my wife might be cheating on me, but I never thought it would lead to something like this. As the news sank in, my anger began to grow. How could my wife do this to me? And how could the other man be so careless as to impregnate her? My mind was racing with questions and accusations, and I couldn't seem to get a grip on my emotions. I knew that I needed to confront my wife about this, but I didn't know how to approach the subject. I was afraid that I would lose my temper and say something that I would regret later. And at the same time, I didn't want to be too passive or let her off the hook too easily. Then she broke another shocking news. She told me how they had come up with a plan to tell me that the baby was mine because she didn't want to make a termination. That's why ended their affair. What the heck is going on? She is crazy. I will never raise an affair child in my life. I didn't want anything to do with it, or with her for that matter. The thought of being with her after all that she had done made me sick. So I decided to take action. I made a mental note to consult a lawyer and secretly plan my exit strategy, leaving that two-timing hoe with nothing. She deserved every bit of pain and suffering that would come her way. But for now, I would bide my time and pretend like nothing was wrong. I would wait for the perfect moment to make my move and give her the boot. And when I did, she would have nothing left but the memory of what she had lost, and what a fool she had been to throw it all away. I found the perfect attorney. He was ruthless and would make sure that my soon-to-be ex-wife didn't get a penny more than what she deserved. I met with him in secret and went over the details of the divorce. As we were talking, I realized that I wasn't even sad about the end of our marriage. In fact, I felt relieved. I could finally start over and leave this mess behind me. I made a vow to myself that I would never let anyone hurt me like this again. Over the next few weeks, I gathered evidence of her infidelity and her plan to deceive me. I made copies of every incriminating text message and recorded every phone call, just in case I needed it in court. I also started putting aside some money in a separate bank account so that I would have something to fall back on when I left.